conditional bail for JNU Students Union President Kanhaiya Kumar may have been a minor victory for students demanding his release, but the content of the order of Justice Pratibha Rani delivers them a sobering message. The bail comes with several conditions, directives to JNU faculty and some serious observations on the exercise of freedom of speech. The thoughts reflected in the slogans raised by some of the students of JNU who organized and participated in that program cannot be claimed to be protected as fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression, the order said, and considered it as a kind of infection from which such students are suffering, which needs to be controlled, cured before it becomes an epidemic. The court further added, whenever some infection is spread in a limb, effort is made to cure the same by giving antibiotics orally, and if that does not work, by following the second line of treatment. Sometimes it may require surgical intervention also. However, if the infection results in infecting the limb to the extent that it becomes gangrene, amputation is the only treatment. While dealing with the bail application of the petitioner, it has to be kept in mind by all concerned that they are enjoying this freedom only because our borders are guarded by our armed and paramilitary forces. Our forces are protecting our frontiers in the most difficult terrain in the world, that is Siachen Glacier or Rann of Kutch, the court observed. While Tushar Mehta, Additional Solicitor General, ASG, opposed the bail plea of Kumar, Rahul Mehra, Standing Counsel for the Government of NCT of Delhi, submitted that given the facts and circumstances of the case, the petitioner may be released on bail. Kanhaiya Kumar's bail plea. According to the judgment, Kanhaiya Kumar has claimed that there was no incident of violence after the alleged incident of raising anti-national slogans. Rather, the JNU campus remained peaceful and no disturbance was reported from within the campus. The so-called video recording of the incident by some channels has been reported to be doctored by the press. In his speech delivered on 11th of February, 2016, Kumar projected himself to be a law-abiding citizen having full faith in the Constitution. He contended that he was a victim of conspiracy by certain vested elements who are fabricating evidence against him. There is no possibility of his being capable of tampering with the evidence. Kapil Sibal, appearing for Kumar, submitted that Kumar has no role in that event. His name also does not appear on the poster of that event, contents of which were considered anti-national. The petitioner has not been seen raising anti-national slogans in any of the video footage. The defense counsel also submitted that the role of the Kumar is limited to the extent that he reached the spot in his capacity as president of JNU, on coming to know about the tension between the two groups. After the situation came under control, he left the spot. Ground on which the bail was opposed. Tushar Mehta, Additional Solicitor General, ASG, referred to the statement of various witnesses to describe the role played by the petitioner in organizing and participating in the event. Mehta contended that merely because the petitioner is not a signatory on the application form for seeking permission for the program, is not sufficient to infer that he has nothing to do with the event, and referred to the statement of various witnesses recorded to describe the role played by the petitioner in organizing and participating in the event. Mehta also stressed that Kumar also talked to the concerned authorities, showing his resentment about the cancellation of the permission and his active participation in the event, which led to a situation that the police had to be called and both the factions of the students raising slogans were separated. The ASG also took the plea that the speech given by the petitioner on 11th of February, 2016 was part of his strategy to create to defense and opposed the bail. The court's observations. The petitioner has been remanded to police custody thrice and has also joined the investigation. He is no more required for investigation of this case. The court observed that while Kanhaiya accepted his presence at the event on the 9th of February, the role played by the petitioner on that day is the subject matter of investigation, and it is desirable at this stage to leave it to the investigating agency to unearth the truth. It added, it is not disputed by the state at this stage that in the footage of video recording of the incident, the petitioner has not been seen raising anti-national slogans. On the ASG's claim that the 11th of February speech was part of his strategy to create to defense, the court observed that whether the speech dated 11th of February, 2016 by the petitioner contains his original thoughts and faith in the Constitution and nationalist approach, or the speech was to create a safety gear for himself is again something which cannot be examined by this court at this stage. Court's observation on sedition. While describing what sedition means and what sort of punishment it attracts, the court observed that it is again subject to outcome of investigation that will determine the category in which the accusations against the petitioner would fall. On the responsibility of Kumar. As the president of Jawaharlal University Students Union, the petitioner was expected to be responsible and accountable for any anti-national event organized in the campus, the court observed. The binary freedom of speech we enjoy is because of the soldiers. While dealing with the bail application of the petitioner, it has to be kept in mind by all concerned that they are enjoying this freedom only because our borders are guarded by our armed and paramilitary forces. Our forces are protecting our frontiers in the most difficult terrains in the world, that is Siachen Glacier or Rann of Kutch, the court observed. It added, suffice it to note that such persons enjoy the freedom to raise such slogans in the comfort of the university campus, without realizing that they are in this safe environment because our forces are there at the battlefield situated at the highest altitude of the world, where even the oxygen is so scarce that those who shout anti-national slogans holding posters of Afzal Guru and Makbul Bat close to their chest honoring their martyrdom, may not be even able to withstand those conditions for even an hour. The kind of slogans raised may have demoralizing effect on the family of those martyrs who returned home in a coffin draped in the tricolor, the court said. Directives. The court told the faculty of JNU to play its role in guiding students to the right path so that they can contribute to the growth of the nation and to achieve the object and vision for which Jawaharlal University was established. The court stated that the reason behind the anti-national views in the minds of students who raised slogans on the death anniversary of Afzal Guru, who was convicted for the attack on our parliament, has not only to be found by them, but remedial steps are also required to be taken in this regard by those managing the affairs of JNU, so that there is no recurrence of such incident. While considering Kumar's family background, some concession to the petitioner on the monetary aspect for the purpose of furnishing the bond was given by the court. However, the same court also held that Kumar can be required to furnish an undertaking to the effect that he will not participate actively or passively in any activity which may be termed as anti-national. Apart from that, as president of JNU Students Union, he will make all efforts within his power to control anti-national activities in the campus. His surety should also be either a member of the faculty or a person related to the petitioner in a manner that he can exercise control on the petitioner not only with respect to appearance before the court, but also to ensure that his thoughts and energy are channelized in a constructive manner. The order read. The court on Wednesday said the thoughts reflected in the slogans chanted by some of the JNU students who organized and participated in a program to commemorate Parliament attack convict Afzal Guru's hanging cannot be claimed to be protected as fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression. The Delhi High Court has reminded those shouting anti-India slogans on JNU campus of Indian soldiers' sacrifice, saying they are enjoying this freedom only because our borders are guarded by our armed and paramilitary forces. The court on Wednesday said the thoughts reflected in the slogans chanted by some of the JNU students who organized and participated in a program to commemorate Parliament attack convict Afzal Guru's hanging cannot be claimed to be protected as fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression. Forces protecting border in most difficult terrain. Our forces are protecting our frontiers in the most difficult terrain in the world, that is Siachen Glacier or Rann of Kutch, it said. The kind of slogans raised may have demoralizing effect on the family of those martyrs who returned home in coffin draped in tricolor, said Justice Pratibha Rani, who granted 6-month interim bail to JNU Students Union President Kanhaiya Kumar to enable him to remain in the mainstream. The HC, which asked Kanhaiya not to indulge in anti-national activities, noted that such persons enjoyed the freedom to raise anti-India slogans in the comfort of JNU campus without realizing that they were in this safe environment because our forces were there at the battlefield situated at the highest altitude of the world. It said, even the oxygen is so scarce there, that those who are shouting anti-national slogans holding posters of Afzal Guru and Makbul Bat close to their chest honoring their martyrdom, may not be even able to withstand those conditions, even for an hour. HC reminds Kanhaiya of his fundamental duty. On Kanhaiya's assertion of his right to freedom of speech and expression guaranteed under Article 19(1) of Constitution, the HC said, he has also to be reminded that under Article 51A of Constitution fundamental duties of every citizen have been specified along with the fact that rights and duties are two sides of the same coin. Noting that Kanhaiya belonged to an intellectual class as he was pursuing PhD from International School of Studies, JNU, considered as hub of intellectuals, the HC said as JNSU president he was expected to be responsible and accountable for any anti-national event organized on the campus. Free speech is subject to reasonable restrictions. He Kanhaiya may have any political affiliation or ideology. He has every right to pursue that, but it can be only within the framework of our Constitution. India is a living example of unity in diversity. Freedom of expression enjoyed by every citizen can be subjected to reasonable restrictions under Article 19(2) of our Constitution, Justice Rani said in her order. The feelings or the protest reflected in the slogans needs introspection by the student community whose photographs are available on record holding posters carrying photographs of Afzal Guru and Makbul Bhat, it noted. Freedom of speech guaranteed to the citizens of this country under the Constitution of India has enough room for every citizen to follow his own ideology or political affiliation within the framework of our Constitution, the HC said. Court's message to JNU faculty. The court also reminded the JNU faculty of its role in guiding the students to the right path so that they could contribute to the growth of the nation and to achieve the object and vision for which JNU was established. The reason behind anti-national views in the mind of students who raised slogans on the death anniversary of Afzal Guru, who was convicted for attack on our parliament, which led to this situation, have not only to be found by them but remedial steps are also required to be taken in this regard by those managing the affairs of the JNU so that there is no recurrence of such incident. It noted. This spring why the color of peace is eluding the prestigious JNU situated in the heart of Delhi needs to be answered by its students, faculty members and those managing the affairs of this national university, the HC said.